Hello, everybody. Welcome to Alaskan Ballistics Late Night Chat. I've got two wonderful gentlemen with me. I use that term loosely, gentlemen. Got Pat RMG and Reloading Weatherby, both great,
Hello.
successful channels and everything like that. So, if you haven't been to one of my gun chats before, it's just you ask your questions, we give you our answers. It's worth exactly what you paid for it, unless, of course, you give a super chat. It's worth less than what you paid for it, and we just have fun talking about guns. So anyway, let me introduce everybody. If you don't know them, go ahead. Reloading Weatherby.
Uh, I'm reloading Weatherby. Um, I do a lot of cartridge comparisons. I like Weatherby cartridges, obviously, and I reload them. That's about it.
Cool. And Pat RMG, Mr. Tactical Lever Action Guy. Mr. Tactical Lever Action Guy.
Guilty as charged. I have about 7 of them within my wingspan here, but I can't touch them because we're on live.
Yes, because YouTube doesn't believe in free speech that way. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, there's one.
Yeah, there you go. Mr. Tactical. So you have the Weatherby guy who's going to shoot 800 yards, and the tactical lever action guy who's going to shoot 30 yards. There we go. I know. You've shot a deer at 200 yards with that thing, or 360, or whatever, 180, whatever it was. But yeah, you get my
Yeah,
point.
no, it'll reach. It'll reach.
Yep. All right, we got a first question earlier today when I made the chat early today. Bamse Moy, he's over in Finland, I think. What is the best gun for the coming zombie apocalypse? Well, considering you got Russian zombies on your border, um, that's actually that. My answer was this Modus, but I'll let you guys answer. Go ahead.
I'm going for some type of 22, man. I can carry a lot of it and just have at it, man. I can survive with it. I kill zombies with it. Of course, I'm gonna have to have some kind of bayonet, some kind of big, heavy stock on that thing. Do a bunch of whacking. Yeah,
If
it
you've
just be
gotten
a
that, if you've gotten that close to a zombie with a bayonet and a stock, you're already in trouble. I'm just saying.
nah,
The the
nah,
ger- the germs will spread. You might as well
nah.
just go ahead and write yourself off.
No,
Just
I've
shoot
dealt with the
yourself.
local population around here enough, so they're close enough.
He's just kidding, YouTube, ATF, FBI, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are. He's just kidding.
Uh,
It's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah. All right, Austin, what's your answer?
I'm not going to go too far away from what Pat said. I'm thinking a Ruger 1022 or an AR-15 and 22 long rifle.
All right, all right. I I think I would go honestly. Out of all the guns I have, I would go probably with my AR-15, my new 20-inch build. I got a new 20-inch build that I haven't really shown on the channel yet. Um, but then I've also, I got that new JTS AK shotgun, the Chinese AK shotgun, and it works really well, like any other semi-shot auto shotgun, if you tune the gas settings for your load. All right, so I would that's 10 shots in a shotgun, semi-auto. It's a lot of ammo to carry, and the mags are only 10 rounds, but it's putting them down. You don't have to worry about no bayonet and a stock getting close to them, getting them germs breathing on you, and them trying to kiss you and stuff.
Oh no,
So,
that's a last ditch. I want to be able to just like poke and bash, pick that pow.
all right,
It's my fantasy, and you're not welcome. Okay,
I don't want to be in your fantasy ever.
just me and you and a bunch of zombies.
Oh man, already having a good time. All right, let's shout out the chat. We already. I have actually shot an MG MH2 HB QCB. I don't know what all those terms mean, but it sounds like fun. All right, so I'm there. Let me know when you're going to shoot it again. Hunter Kirk, good evening from North Idaho. Red Team 98 from North Pole, Alaska. Yep, Alaska One Andy, great supporter of the channel. Thank you, brother. Justy Paramin from North Carolina. Kyle Loper, glad to catch another live chat. These are fun. Yes, they are. Welcome, Kyle. All right, Trapper Scotty. I guess he's in 10 feet of snow still. That's not good.
They must be
Dan
some long
O'Neill.
legs.
Yeah, well, they're still 4 feet beneath him, and he's 6 foot tall. All
Oh,
right.
okay.
Yeah, you only sink so far in. That's why you buy snowshoes, though. Snowshoes really do work, even on my fat butt. All right. Dan O'Neill's he's saying 20. He's agreeing with y'all. 22 LR. G23. What is
Suppressed.
up? He has mouthwash. Did I drill some on me? I literally just put mouthwash back in. Oh, he's talking about the germs.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Lemonade.
there you go.
I'm relying on citrus.
Good evening, everyone, and the Glock guy. Oh, somebody's starting to crap about Glocks already. All right, that's good. That's good. Let's see. M&P fanboy. The only correct answer is an A10 Warthog. I think G23 is correct.
Yeah, you float above the germs.
That's right. You know. So I would actually, so 1522 New York Outcast says, I would actually, instead of the Smith & Wesson 1522, which is a good gun, I would probably go with the Tippmann, which is a lot more reliable. And although I never had problems never had a jam in the 1522 I had, but it's a lot more reliable. It's a lot more customizable. You can put lights on it better. If you want to change out the flash hider, the 1522, if you torque it down just a little too much, it'll turn that whole barrel inside of that plastic action. All right, I've done it before, so I would go with the Tippmann over that. And what is it, like $130 more maybe on a good day? On a bad day? What's up, Luminous Dave? Ken Bean? I was just thinking about you. I just last night uh resized and deprimed all my 44 Magnum brass. First time I'm reloading 44 Magnum, so I've got your bullets right here, Ken Bean. Ken is ckbcastbullets.com. So and I'll shout him out every time he comes in here because I love those bullets. I think they are great. And if you are not getting your hardcast bullets from CKM or ckbcastbullets.com from Ken over here, you deserve to get eaten by a grizzly bear. All right, I'm just calling it like it is. So very good. You should send Pat some if you hadn't already. You don't really reload for any hardcast calibers, do you, Austin?
No. I guess I 4570.
Oh yeah, well yeah, 4570. I've got some bullets. These I actually bought from him, which they're good. But I was going to do half in 4570 and half in 458 SOCOM. But I don't know where they're at right now. But yeah, so they're about a 21 or 22 on the Brennell scale, unlike the Buffalo Bore and Underwood, which is like a 17 or 16 on the hardness scale, and they are powder coated, black powder coated. I call them the goth lipstick round because the red Underwoods ones are the lipstick round. These are the goth lipstick round. I think they're pretty cool. So yeah, yeah. So yes, Ken, if you want to send some to Reloading Weatherby and send some to Pat, they got more subscribers than I do and make better videos. So go ahead. It'd be a good. Austin will probably get them reloaded before I do too. So yeah, just letting you know they're great bullets. Yep. The 1522 is way easier to field strip on the fly. The Tippmann is just the same. They're all the same. The bolt carrier group might be a little different, but I don't want a plastic gun that can drop when it breaks. That polymer. I've seen that barrel twist inside that polymer. I'm never putting on a new flash hider for that M&P 1522 again. I'll tell you that much. Now, yeah, an AR with a 22 conversion kit might come in handy, or an upper. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Daniel Ravenstar, great supporter of the channel. South Dakota to Kalama, Washington. We got David from New Jersey and a Glock fanboy. Hello from the backwoods of Tennessee.
You ain't far from me.
That's right. Not compared to where I am, yeah. So I miss the back heels of Tennessee. Like I do miss there. If I have to move somewhere out of Alaska, it would be probably up between Athens and Knoxville. Kind of where my grandparents' farm used to be. Well, it's still there, but it's not in our family anymore. So Martin Horst, evening. Hope all is great. Well, great stuff lately, Chuck. Looking forward to more 10 mm tests. I literally have a video in the editor right now. So, is what it is. Oh, he was 10 foot deep with snowshoes on. There you go. Mouthwashes for zombie blowback. Oh man, I trust my 1522. Yeah, no, it's a good gun. Uh, it's just not quite up to the ability. Like the 1522 is what you take out Plinkin. The Tipman is what you would take to Afghanistan. Like that's the quality difference between the two, in my opinion. But it's a good gun. Like I had one. I have not owned a Tipman. I plan on getting a Tipman for my kids though to train them on the ARs. So what is a 1522? An AR 1520? Yes, it's a Smith and Wesson AR 15 and 22. It's pretty much all polymer except for the barrel and the bolt. It's very lightweight. It's a good gun. They feed well with the right ammo. Like any other 22, they can be ammo picky. That's even the Tipman probably. So I mean that's just the nature of 22s. What's up, David Thompson? All is good up here. Seen the Glock guy and the M&P guy, and I'm here with my XDM.
Where's the Smith and Wesson guys at?
Yeah. I've been to that area. Tennessee, Chuck has pretty Blue Ridge Mountains. Yep, it does. So that's I miss going in there. I miss Gatlin, not Gatlinburg, but Pigeon Fords and Cades Cove. Miss going to Cades Cove every summer. That was pretty cool. So, oh, I remember a car broke down one time inside of Cades Cove. That was not good. It's like,
Oh yeah, but that was fun.
yeah, that was like a $400 tow out back in the 80s or 90s. So, yeah. All right. Here's a good one. I think both Austin and Pat have good information on this one. For a new reloader, what brand or type of press would you recommend to start out with? Don't want to buy something and then want to replace it a month later. We'll start out with pistol rounds. I'm gonna be honest. Mine, I go Hornady lock and load. I'm still a single stage press guy. I like measuring every powder charge. But if you're wanting to produce a lot of rounds quickly, you need to go with a Dillon. So, um, Dillon 550 or 650, whatever you want to do. They're going to be the most quality, buy once, cry once kind of thing. But they are going to be harder to set up. It is harder to set up a turret press, a multi-stage press that does everything. Every time you pull the shell, pull the handle, a new shell comes out. But I like measuring every powder charge. You got a good answer for that, Austin?
There you go. I like it. RCBS.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was my first press.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It works.
I had the RCBS Rock Chucker kit. That was my first press.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on RCBS myself. I don't do pistol like 9 mil. Some people argue and say that I'm stupid, but I do not fool with even loading 9 mil as cheaply as it can be bought.
Yep.
I don't even fool with it. So I'm still running RCBS because I do 45-70. I'm only loading 20 to 100 rounds out of this special thing. 44 mag is about the same way. 357 is about the same way. I just do these little artisan batches where I'm measuring and keeping everything nice and tight. So I haven't stepped into the pistol caliber stuff just because I'd rather buy 9 mil than break my elbow.
Right. Yeah. So NY Outcast, yeah, definitely send me an email um and I'll share those videos. They're good. It's a good gun. I think the Tipman's better, but I think that's a good gun. I think they're both better than like the Hammerly or the HK that doesn't have a bolt catch that works. All right. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the Lee Challenger press. Yep, you're learning cheap, very accurate rounds produced. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that either. They're all good. Um, my cameraman just got all this stuff to do it. Somebody actually gave all this stuff to me, and I gave it to my cameraman guy because I don't have room for it, and he's just bought a house and he's got the room for it. So he's gonna start reloading. My dad and I used to reload shotgun shells um, all the time. So um, yeah. Yeah, pistol is good for stocking up, like the cough situation. I'm sorry, but I would much rather stock up rifle. Like I just finished my big old batch of like 36308 full metal jackets. So, um, and I bought another 500 full metal jackets. So I might make it through the first skirmish with the 308. Then I'll have to fall back to 556, and I've got 25 or 2600 of those. So I know those are rookie numbers. I'm sorry, Pat. I got to get those up.
Yeah, I'm not filming in front of my ammo shelf anymore.
Yeah, there's that. Yep.
Yeah, when I get this room up here done, I'll have my ammo shelf back.
There you go. What's everyone's thought on the new PRC cartridge? Is it real world better in 7mm than 7mm rim mag 300?
I shot some PRC stuff down in Alabama, and well, let me just say, I went to 6.5 Creedmoor, and it was boringly accurate. The PRC stuff that I was shooting was even more boringly accurate. So that is a compliment of its own.
Yeah,
They're accurate.
Yeah, they're good, accurate. There is some inherent accuracy and efficiency built into the cartridge. So yes, it is good. Does that mean it does everything it's supposed to? Well, Austin has a good short that shows no, it didn't get the speed it was supposed to get. So I would probably say that's Hornady's quality of ammo and powder charges more than anything. But yeah, Hornady's saying 3150 for a 150 grain CX, and they're saying 3000 for the same bullet in 7mm rim mag. So it's going to be interesting when I hand load those up and do my comparison. So just kind
The
of
fastest I've been able to get my 7 PRC to go with a 180 grain is 2900. It's a bit slower than what the books say I should get.
Yeah.
It's possible my barrel will speed up.
Yeah, it's still breaking it in a little bit.
Yeah, I've only got like 70 rounds through it.
Yeah. I've been reloading buckshot lately. There you go. Lyman 8. Stock up on both. How do you take the bullet out of a cartridge? Well, there's two ways. There's on the reloading press bullet puller, and that is my preferred one. Howsoever, it will dent that bullet. It will put a little ring around that bullet. The bullet's still usually pretty good to shoot. So I try to do it as lightly as I can without putting that ring on there, and then I have to tighten it and try again, tighten it and try it again. Then there's the hammer one. This is what Reloading Weatherby shows on his channel. You want to go ahead and talk about it, Austin?
Yeah, you just basically hammer it out. And if you have like a plastic or polymer tip bullet, it usually will deform it. Unless you're really careful. If you just hit it out really softly near the end, it won't deform the bullet.
Yeah. Mine actually has my kinetic bullet puller. If you take and put a little piece of foam in the nose of it, that'll alleviate that. Yeah, so you can take and it makes a mess with powder getting all in it, but at least it'll keep from deforming the bullet.
Yeah.
David Thompson is flexing on me. There you go. I like it. All right. RCBS is a bullet hammer. It's never good to show your hand, guys. Best to keep stock numbers private. Yep, I agree. Especially if you're in New York. Shoot. I was out in front of my ammo thing with the state senator the other night on here. So kind of is what it is. All right. Yeah, there's some times where you can't really save it. So Pat, what do you got coming up on your channel? We don't have any new questions here for a little while. So what do you have coming up on your channel?
Well, I have picked up a Tokarev shotgun. I'm going to do a home defense under $200 because ain't nothing getting any cheaper. So I'm going to do that. And then my grand fashion, I'm going to take this $200 shotgun and put about $500 worth of wood furniture on it just because I can. And then I've got a new custom knife from Kraken Tactical. Let's give him a plug there. Bought one a year and a half ago, and I used the crap out of it. Had another one come up available, so I grabbed it. So I've got that coming up. And then, of course, those gun fails. I've been doing these gun fails videos, and they've been doing really well. Have some commenters tell me that I'm being anti 2A by showing people being unsafe with guns, and it's like, no, dude, I'm showing this in the context of safety. It's very much pro 2A. So yeah, I've got some other stuff of that coming up.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's what's on my immediate horizon. And then of course I'm always doing projects for Ranger Point Precision. So always constantly grinding over there, running their YouTube channel.
Yeah. So if I text or message Ranger Point Precision on Instagram, is that you texting me back?
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I run the backside of the socials, and then I got the whole YouTube channel. I got control of the whole YouTube channel. It recently hit 20K, so that made me happy.
Congrats.
Yeah, and they shared my comment muzzle brake thing pretty before. That was before you were with them. They shared it pretty heavily, which I thank them for, because it was gun modification, so it wasn't monetized, so it wasn't going to get any views, but it was gonna. But that is a nice little brake that really takes all the recoil out of the 4570. Now it's still thumper, but it's not. They advertised 50% recoil reduction. I'm like, yeah, right. And then I got it, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably pretty dang close. So
there's a more aggressive brake now. It's called the T-Rex. So it's an upsized Comet.
Oh, interesting.
But then one to mention is the Southern Precision Southern Precision Tooling, the SPT Hoodoo. That thing is massive, but holy crap, it's like shooting a pillow. The gun goes like for a 4570. Because see, the first time I saw one was 4 years ago, and Andy Welshin, he had a supercharged 30-06, it's a 300 Dingo, and he says, I don't think you should be able to shoot a gun if you can't shoot it off your chin. And he goes, boom! Your chin is the freaking light switch. You get knocked in that chin just right, you're going out. And he fired this thing with the butt stock up to his chin, and he goes,
oh, wow.
A very aggressive break.
If I am reloading a Magnum round, can I substitute the primer? This is a pretty common question I get these days. I would say, I mean, you can always try it, and you'll probably be okay, but it would not be my first recommendation. I would use Magnum primers and Magnum rounds. Pistol, it's not going to matter quite as much. Like 44 Magnum with a large pistol primer instead of a large pistol Magnum primer, I think would be good. But rifle, I would back the powder charge off a little bit. That way you don't build up so much pressure inside of it, because it'll take more time for the gunpowder to build up the pressure, and therefore to build up the pressure longer if you're maxed out on a compressed charge. So the general rule of thumb is that the large rifle magnums are 15% hotter than the large rifles. However, and this is a great video idea. I don't care if either one of you steals it from me or if you want to do it together. I think it'd be interesting to take, say, a 44 Magnum. I have some small primer pocket 44 Magnums, and load like 5 of them with small pistol Magnum, then go over to my large ones, large pistol Magnum, then go back to the small ones, small rifle Magnum, go back to the large ones, large rifle Magnum, put them all the same where the gun barrel is in a rest, and shoot and measure the flame that comes out. No bullet, no powder. Just measure the flame that comes out in front of like a chart, a background that has your marks, you know what I mean? So I don't know. That would be a pretty interesting test, I think. And then you would know, because I've substituted large rifle Magnum in large rifle before and jacked that thing up to maximum in my 7mm 08 with 150 grain. I had no issues. And I have the same thing in 6.5 by 284. I use a large rifle Magnum primer for anything over 50 grains. That's 50.9 grains, and it's a slow burning powder. And there's a moose in my freezer from it, so I'm not really worried about it. So, yeah. Anybody else want to answer that question?
I've never tried a large rifle primer in a Magnum, but I have done a Magnum primer in a 270, and it did just fine.
Yeah, I always look like 270 and 30-06 always get a Magnum primer for me. I also have enough to flex on people though, so.
I don't.
And you can't take them back on the airplane when you come up here. Otherwise, I'd give you some, buddy.
I'll take a boat back.
Yeah, there you go. It's probably more fun. What about you, Pat? You got any issues with that before?
Well, about the only thing that I could see, he's asked reloading a Magnum round. If I pervert his question and go all the way down to 357, you can accidentally put Magnum in 38 special, and it'll actually push the bullet out before it burns the powder.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so if you do small pistol Magnums in a 38 special, you'll get enough pop to unseat the bullet before the powder actually goes.
And I bet you'd have a lot of flame coming out of that cylinder gap.
Oh yeah, you'll open it up. It can cause possible problems.
Yeah. So yes, don't
Give
do
it a try and let us know, Luminous Dave.
No, don't.
No.
If you do, sue reloading Weatherby, okay? Not me, okay?
Uh,
There you go. That's a good question though.
Yeah, no, like I said, I was just going to pervert his question a little bit and take it a little too far.
Yeah, no, but that's a good answer because I mean, generally that's not going to happen in a bottlenecked rifle cartridge, but it could. That's why I was saying back the powder charge down so it's not a compressed charge, because if it is a compressed charge and you're burning slower, that's what it is. Look at this. Look what the cat dragged in. We've got bullets for bucks here.
Yeah, hopefully the audio's all right. I'm in my non-studio place.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
No, I got a chuck like that earlier.
Yeah, I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, man.
yes, can you hear me? He said, no, I can't hear you.
Yeah. This is right before the chat came on, so yeah. Anyway. All right, here's a question. Thoughts on monolithic versus lead and copper jacket and big bore 308 for hunting versus defense? So my thought on this is defense. In my house, I'm probably not using a 308. Defense, while I'm in my house shooting at something outside of my house, I would be using my 308. Say a moose that was about to stomp my children in the yard, and I had to shoot through the window and kill it before it was going to stomp my kids. I would definitely say I would use a 308, and I would use monolithic before I would use lead and copper jacket in that situation, because mooses are thick. I didn't find any of the bullets. I didn't have an exit hole from my 6.5x284 with the monolithic bullet, and that's the same power range as a 308, right? It's not quite there, but it's very close. And, it's 130 grain bullet going 3100 in a 308 Barnes TTSX. Well, as that 127 is going about 3000, so it's close. So that being said, for hunting, I would rather, especially with today's ammo market, I would rather stock up on one and use it for both. But that being said, if you have to use 308 inside your house for defense, you better be having a 110 grain VMAX or a 125 grain Accubon that's going fast, or that 110 grain Barnes that breaks apart really quickly and it only leaves a little bit of a base. That, what do they call it? The TAC XPD or whatever they call that. Looking around for the box of bullets. It's over there now. But yeah, you better be using something that's going to break apart quickly. So 308 is, to me, it's not a good home defense. It's going to get the job done. They're going to be on the ground, but you're going to also probably shoot through multiple walls. So you have to have something that breaks apart quickly. And that means you're going to have a different zero from your 150 grain hunting all copper bullets. So any of y'all want to tackle that question?
Well, something I was showing you earlier, I had experimented with this. This was a 500 grain all copper CNC. That's a maker's bullet, subsonic, from a 4570. It expands to 1 3/4. And this was devastating for an entire hunting season. I killed the biggest pig I've ever seen with this.
Mhm.
So
Right.
solid copper. That doesn't compare hunting versus defense or anything, but yeah, it was a very successful, very quiet and deadly.
Yeah, subsonic and with your suppressors, I bet that was deadly. Would you use that same load for home defense if somebody were breaking in?
Probably.
Everybody get down. The 4570's going to town.
Yeah, we're limited to like 5 or 6 rounds out of the gun, but I could actually put 18 of these on the gun. I could put 6 of them in the quivers and 6 of them in the tube. So yeah. And the thing is, like, you pop these off, the neighbors won't even know. The meat slap is actually louder than the report.
Yeah.
When the
Subsonic.
cavity is louder than the gunshot.
Yeah,
I think
that's bad. That's a bad
I
day.
think it's just going to depend on the purpose you're using. You know, what are you using it for? Whether you would want monolithic or lead with a copper jacket or different bullet construction. You know,
Right.
but did Reloading Weatherby tell you about my predicament?
No, he did not.
So I ended up with a gun. I hadn't seen it in person, made a knee-jerk decision, and I ended up with a gun that I was told was a Mauser, which I assumed that wasn't the case anyway. But of course it wasn't technically a Mauser. It's an old CZ from between 1925 and like 1942, but it's like I forget what they call it. It's like a model 24 or something like that.
Right.
And it is based on a Mauser, but it's not quite a Mauser. However, somebody used it a ton for hunting by its appearances, but they chambered it in 8mm. So I guess 8mm was popular in like World War I or something. Then when the guys got home, they changed them to 8mm 06 for like more power or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is 8mm 06 improved, actually improved.
Oh.
And so I mean, I can't load for it. So I'm trying to talk to everybody I know and be like, hey, how much do I need to pay somebody to like make some brass? Because you can't buy you used to be able to buy the brass. You can't buy the brass. You have to either fire form or use like an expander, I guess, on like 270 or something and make the brass. And then of course you have to have large rifle primers, which I don't have either. So I'm like, well, I guess I have a gun that I'll never shoot, but it's kind of a cool gun. If worse comes to worse, I'm just going to do videos on it, historical like videos on it, and then have to get rid of it. But
Yeah.
it also is really unique in the fact that it has a barrel I've never seen. I'm more into modern bolt actions, I guess. So I don't know a lot about the older guns, but it has a tiered barrel. I think that's actually a different name for it, but it's like it goes out like a couple inches and then it like cuts down to a smaller diameter. It goes out like a fork, cuts down. So literally looks like almost like tiers. And I'd never seen that before.
Instead of tapered. It was probably way easier to machine that than taper it back in the day. So
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds like a lazy machinist.
Supposedly it was like around World War II or something that was like not super uncommon. Like it was military. So it was a military gun that was sporterized essentially. So like it doesn't look like they cut the barrel, but they put it in a different stock in like maybe the 40s or 50s. It looks like it's an old stock, but they put it in a different stock and then they rechambered it. But
interesting. Yeah, so 8mm 06 actually improved.
The improved part is what makes it, because you can actually get 8mm 06 from a custom reloading place for like $150 a box or something like that, and you can get some brass. But 8mm 06 improved is what makes it like the rarity of the rare. So it's like, oh gosh. But anyway, yeah, we'll see.
It's that Pat guy sitting on a $500 truck with 5,000 K rims just for fun.
Yeah, I do what I want.
I don't know if have I met you before?
Yeah, do you know Pat?
I think we were on a live stream some time ago. Your face looks familiar. The Bullets for Bucks. I think I've seen some of your YouTube videos.
Well,
Maybe some of your shorts, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe we have on a live stream a long time ago, but anyway.
Steven, meet Pat. Pat, meet Steven. So Pat is Mr. Tactical Lever Action Guy.
Yeah, I got one of them. I can't handle it, but I can show you. There's one right there.
Do you have a channel?
Yeah, it's Pat RMG.
Oh, I think I've heard of that. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up now.
All right, yeah. Oh, he's NY Outcast is making fun of you. $500 on a $200 gun. You're gonna say you're gonna fill that up there. $500 truck on $20,000 worth of tires and rims.
Oh yeah, I'm subscribed to you, but I don't know that I knew who you were when I subscribed. But Pat RMG, yeah, I've watched some of your stuff.
Yeah, I look a little different on camera.
Yeah.
Cool.
If that doesn't. Okay, I didn't want to spoon feed you that one.
He grooms his beard better in person. I will say that, having met him.
Oh no, it's lopsided. I don't know if it's the light or what, but it's lopsided right now.
Yeah.
I probably commented like, "Who's this idiot who with these disgusting lever actions all tactified?" I like my.
You probably did, because that's what I do.
I don't think I did, but I might have. But I don't think I did. But I do tend to like mine more traditional, honestly. But
well, the one that was above me that I just showed you, that was a wooden blued 94 that was 20 inches. I chopped it to 16.5, threaded it, and put billet furniture on it.
The Space Cowboy lever gun thing by the river, that looks pretty cool. I see a clip by that looks. I mean, that I can kind of go for that. When they get like real colorful or like the gold, and I'm not into that, but yeah, the one by the river.
You'll see a 24 karat gold one on my channel too. I had access to one in October, 24 karat gold nickel plated.
Nice. I will say this, that the tactical lever action, it makes a very good bear defense gun, because you have all the advantages of a flashlight, quick firing. You have all these attachments where you can put quivers, a lot more rounds if you need to. You have muzzle brakes or suppressors that will help with the recoil, or both. And you have plenty of optics mounting spaces there. And you have good stuff from Ranger Point Precision, since we'll just throw them a bone, since Pat works with them a little bit too. And so like the tactical lever action. Before Bud Light went woke, I was going to make a song about, I had downloaded it and started writing it, and then Bud Light went woke. I downloaded the karaoke track. It was going to be, "Today we salute you, real men of genius," because that was his original name when he was like 2,000 subscribers, was Pat Real Man of Genius. That's where the RMG comes from.
Yep.
And so I was going to make the song, "Today we salute you, Mr. Tactical Lever Action Guy. Mr. Tactical Lever Action Guy." You know, those old Real Man of Genius commercials. And it was going to be, "You're ready for war if it were in the 1870s. You know, I shot all the buffalo." You know, stuff like that. You know, it's going to make fun of him like that the whole time.
Lever actions have, I feel like, really come back into popularity in the last like year or two.
Oh yeah, they've definitely boomed. They have absolutely ripped loose.
I really want to get my hands on a couple. I have one really cruddy 336, but it was like when they were at their worst, so it's this terrible trigger, and it's just not that nice, to be honest with you. But it's a 30-30. But and I never shoot it. But apart from that, I don't have any. But I do want to get a couple nicer ones. All
right. Yeah.
A silenced revolver. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and the ATF deemed that as being silencer parts.
Did they really?
Yeah. I have the determination letter right here.
Oh,
the
wow.
ATF determined that suppressed those earmuffs, the aluminum earmuffs, those are silencer parts.
Even though they don't significantly reduce the decibels of the gun, when it's not a suppressor on there.
Yeah. So you can put a suppressor on it and run these, and it'll actually be quiet. But if you put those on the gun without the suppressor, it goes from painfully loud to slightly less painfully loud. And they considered that as being silenced parts.
Yeah. How much does that whip machine SME actually reduce sound?
Oh, it's not reducing sound. It throws the sound majestically forward. It's just not on you.
Okay, but like how? Okay, I mean I phrased it wrong, but like how much at the shooter's ear? How much difference is there? I guess.
At the shooter's ear, it just basically, it's so weird. Have you ever shot suppressed supersonic?
Yeah.
Okay,
A lot.
so you can hear the bullet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that SME on, it just kind of like boom, like it's sending it away, so it keeps all of that concussive force off of your ears.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I can explain it.
Isn't the recoil the same, or wouldn't it reduce? Wouldn't it make it the muzzle brake in like not effective though, because it's forcing this the force forward like this.
Yeah, the brake by itself is very effective, but it's very concussive. When you put the little sleeve on it, that kind of negates the brake, but it throws everything forward, so it becomes a linear comp. And I fired it a couple times on camera. I didn't call it out in the video. I should have, but I had the mic right here. And everybody's like, why didn't you put the camera behind you? No, I was recording like 6 inches from my ear, but I didn't call it out in the video. And you could just barely see the lapel bud. You got this big freaking honking beard here, and you can barely see the bud, but I was recording right here. And it throws the sound forward. Like I said, there's no reduction. If you were to put an SPL meter in front of it, a dB meter in front of it, it's going to be equally as loud. It's just where it sends it.
Right. Well, that video did really well. Wow.
Yeah, and that one was one of those videos. I put the video out, 54,000 views first day, and YouTube's like, nope, that's too much success, demonetized. So I just went ahead and killed the video. 3 months later, I put it out. Now you see it is like 1 million something.
1.3. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those. Sometimes you just have to back up, reload, or re-upload, try it again.
Yep.
Wow. Anyways, cool.
Okay. NY Outcast is saying I shouldn't sing the tactical lever action guy. We should get his wife to do it. All right, I'm cool with that. So
let's see if we can get Dylan Mulvaney to sing it. That might be the way to negate it.
No. So they just want us mostly deaf. There you go. Yeah. Are Henry rifles popular in Alaska? Yes. I have a Henry for lever action. Henrys are very popular in Alaska. So
Henry's probably my most carried lever gun. I've got a Magnum Express in the truck, and no, it's not willy-nilly just laying around, but I keep the Magnum Express 22 mag. But that is my favorite off-season gun. You've got an on-season gun, 30 cal and up, and then my off-season gun is a 22 Win Mag.
All right, so I guess this is what we were just discussing. What is everyone's thoughts on the Blast 4 devices? Does it help, or are you better with a good flash hider, which is better, your hearing or hiding your signature? Now, it depends on what you're doing. So, like the SME that he was just talking about, that would be great for hunting, because I don't like to wear hearing protection when I'm hunting, because I want to be able to hear a grizzly bear sneaking up on me, or back in the woods in Georgia, I wanted to hear stuff walking through the woods. So I didn't want to put my ears on in case there was another buck behind the buck I was going to shoot, and that actually happened a couple times. And the Howard lights and the electronic earmuffs kind of changed that. There was always, with the Georgia law, a little bit of quasi, is that legal or not, to have earmuffs on that you can turn on sound and make things increase the loudness of. So that's that. But if you're talking about like a SHTF gun, you want a flash hider on there, a flash hider and a suppressor. Something that really gets rid of the flash, because and messes up the sound a little bit. That's what you want. You don't want something that says, there's their sound and there's their flash right over there, and they start pouring machine gun rounds all around you, and all up it through you. So that's not what you want to do. So for me, it depends on what you're doing. But yeah, I want a suppressor on a bolt gun for that. But like the SME, the sound equipment, mitigating equipment, the blast forward compensators, those kinds of things, they're great for competitions and they're great for like hunting, but they're not so great for like you know, into the world stuff, meaning of life stuff kind of thing. All right. Anybody else got an opinion on that? Go ahead.
Well, now, one thing I will say about hiding flash, it depends on how dark it is. So I went pig hunting in the swamps of Savannah, and I mean, it was just dark, like NV or thermal, and you're seeing nothing. And even through the suppressor, my 4570 will fill up that can, and it will throw out a flash of light. So you're looking through this thermal, right? You got your eye up against this thermal. Well, my particular thermal, there's just this little air weep hole down below it. And so as you're putting your eye up to it, that's all you see. By the time the gun recoils, you just see this nothing but a flame signature out in front of the gun, just because the 4570 fills it completely up. Now, 4570 is probably not your, I don't know, perfect SHTF gun, but I just wanted to throw out the fact that, yes, a suppressor can reduce it, but when it comes to your first pop, your first shot, with all of the oxygen that's in that can, there's a ton. It's almost like there is no device on the end of that barrel. There's so much muzzle flash.
Right. And that depends from caliber to caliber to suppressor brand and, type of powder used, if it's still burning in that length of barrel and that, all that kind of stuff. So
I think
yeah, and it typically is. See, that adds to it. My Henry X model is a 19.3 inch barrel, and the Hornady ammo that I was running is tested in a 24. So I'm almost 5 inches short of what that ammo was designed for. But the suppressor is like another 8 or 10 inches. Right. I'd have to go measure what my can actually is, but it's still just, the flash was crazy, especially to somebody sitting there in the dark. You're sitting there literally in the dark. Your pupils are like open, trying to gather light, and that muzzle flash was ungodly. But of course, that's dense vegetation above, complete darkness.
Right. And so one thing about the darkness here in Alaska is it's never completely dark, because whatever light is available is reflecting off the snow. So it's more of a dark gray. I mean, it gets dark at night, don't get me wrong, but it's a dark gray. And we're in that time of year where I'm gaining 5 to 10 minutes of daylight every year. And like, I would much rather have a good flash hider and sound suppressor on a 5.56 up here if crap was hitting the fan. You never know, which, I mean, we could be in nuclear war with Russia right now, and I may not be here tomorrow. You never know. So
yeah, but no, what I'm talking about, the swamp, like, it's dark as this daggum shirt. I mean, I'm talking, you got a canopy, any starlight's not getting down in there. So any flash is significant. And so if it's something like that, which actually they'd have to be within 50 yards of you because it's a swamp. If they're not within 50 yards of you, there's enough vegetation between you and them that they're not going to see the flash.
Right. That's true.
So it just depends on terrain, where you're at.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Bullets for bucks, you got an opinion on this?
Well, let's see. Which is better, your hearing or hiding your signature? I mean, that partly comes down to what you're using it for, right?
Yeah.
If you're in a war-like situation, you might, you're going to probably want in a swamp, you probably want like a 300 blackout with subsonics, like a really good suppressor. But if you can't have that, maybe a flash hider. If you're hunting and you can hunt with a suppressor and you want to save your hearing, then that's a great way to go. But if you shoot like a 300 PRC with regular ammunition with a suppressor, it shoots a freaking dragon out the end. Still, it doesn't hide anything hardly. I mean, it's right. And also the can gets so hot that in a thermal, it's going to light up like a glow stick. So it's just going to depend on what you're using it for. The blast forward devices, I don't think would help hide your flash really at all, maybe that much.
I think that would help people pinpoint it more, to be honest with you.
I would rather.
Yeah, I need to shoot one of those at night and see what it actually does. I'm pretty sure with that whole funnel forward, it'll still kind of do the jet blast thing. Because I know I don't actually have a can good enough that I don't get a whole lot of flash out of the cans unless I'm doing something like, what we're talking about, my subsonic load. This thing, the powder's petered out. Like there is no muzzle flash because powder's petered out.
I think a blast forward device is, I mean, if you can get a suppressor, get that instead. If you can't get that, then get it, use a flash hider. But the blast forward devices, aren't they? I mean, are they more so just for essentially people that either don't want to do the paperwork or don't want to spend the money to get a can? Essentially, I mean, they're way cheaper and they're going to mitigate, the sound for the hunter. Isn't that kind of what they're designed for? Or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that would be the thing. But also, one thing I'd like to talk about with linear comps. So hunting, it depends on your location, right? So here we are, let's say, I don't know, you're in the swamp and all your vegetation is really densely around you. You're going to throw the sound forward, but there's going to be something to send it back, right? If you're in your house, you're going to throw the sound forward, but it's going to come back. Let's say you're one of these guys that hunts out west. You're in Wyoming hunting speed goats. Then that SME is going to be freaking great because there's nothing between you and the goat to throw the sound back. Talking about antelope, calling them speed goats. But so you have to think about that sound wave. There's a reason that whales use sonar, submarines use sonar. It comes back to you, right? So as long as you're in a wide open space, something like that SME is freaking fine. But I do prefer suppressed all the way around. I prefer suppressed. It doesn't matter what I'm shooting. I'd venture to say.
Speaking of people that are in Wyoming hunting antelope, that is Steven. Just so you know, he's in Wyoming, hunts lots of antelope and elk and everything.
Okay, so he totally got what I was saying. I'd had to back up for the camera or for the people at home. I had a teacher years ago. She was like, always assume that nobody understands your subject matter. So,
but we were saying the blast forward. I mean, they're basically canceling out the muzzle brakes advantages. They're the advantage you get with a muzzle brake. So, whereas a suppressor, I feel like you still get quite a bit of recoil reduction in a lot of suppressors.
Oh yeah. And see, I was actually showing that. I went to an event in October of last year and I had a suppressed 30-30. And so 30-30 through my can just feels so good. You can actually, if you just concentrate and breathe out, just right before the shot, you'll literally pull the trigger and you can feel the puff, 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 puff as it's going through each individual baffle. I know this is taken it's such a microscopic thing, but you can literally feel the slowing down of the recoil. So when it comes to mitigating recoil, it's freaking great. Of course, it throws all the sound forward. 30-30 is still a little pitchy just because it's supersonic. But yeah, there are plenty of benefits on that. And that's one of my favorite hunting guns is that suppressed 30-30. I've got a Marlin Dark it was traded from the factory and I put a can on it. And like I said, I was asking the people at the thing and I'm like, does that not feel like a slow, steady push? And they were all about it. But now when it comes to like the SME, going back to it, there was a fellow that I was training next to. And so anyway, Pete Lubin, if you're out there, Pete, hi. But he was to the right of me. I like to just stay on the left side. But anyway, he was to the right of me. And what I would do with that SME is I would take and we would run a drill and I would run it with the blast shield on. So then next drill, I would just hit it, spin it, let it fall off. And then he would get all the blast off of me on his back because he's right-handed turned this way to me. So he'd get all the blast and all you'd hear right in the middle of it was, "Pah!" It was hilarious. I was just sitting there messing with him back and forth. So, you get the effectiveness of the brake, which affects your buddies, and then the shroud does all the throw forward. So yeah, there's two dynamics to that.
All right, I think we've beat this horse pretty dead. I got a 7.62 by 308 Silence Go flash hider. Been debating on filing to get a can for it. Don't debate. Go do it.
Go do it.
Go do it now. Yep. Brown Eyes and Midway has lots of primers. Plowhammer, I also put some links to Natchez that have lots of primers. They're all expensive, but I think Natchez has free hazmat until it might have ended last night. It might end tonight. I can't remember. But if it ends tonight, like you got to go right now because it ends Eastern time midnight. So go do it right now. Come back to the chat later. But I was just letting you know, like my MeWe page, my AK Ballistics on Twitter. Like there's always a page, something to Natchez. You can just scroll through there and go find it. Oh, but he's in Canada. He's in the People's Republic of Canada. Yeah.
Too bad Canada's in between a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
The lower 48 and Alaska.
Is there a difference if a 139 grain bullet is traveling at 2800 out of a 7mm versus 7mm rim mag at 2800? Well, that would be a very, very light load for a 7mm rim mag. Mine are traveling about 34. And that was a Barnes factory load that's supposed to be traveling 32, but I have a 26-inch barrel, and Barnes tests theirs in a 24. So if you're hand loading down for like a youth shooter, there's not going to be much of a difference. In fact, it's going to be probably less recoil, but there's also a minimum pressure on hand loading. So, and there's a minimum pressure for a reason. If you go too far below it, I've gone a grain or two below it when I was loading for my ex-wife, who was like this tall and like 120 pounds soaking wet. I was downloading for her 308. I would go 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 grains below it, and I had no issues. But if you go way far below that pressure, that minimum charge, now you have the possibility of the case imploding. So that is the rumor. I've never seen it or heard of it happening, but that is the rumor that is out there. So have you ever heard of that, Pat?
I've never heard of that. But now, what he's saying, I don't know if I'm just reading this word for word, but 139 grain traveling at 2800 versus, it doesn't matter what it is, mathematically, 2800 feet per second and a 139 is just numbers for numbers. It's the exact same.
Right, so, exactly. But the problem is I don't think you could get it to go that low in a 7 mag. So, for example, let me look it up here because
I'm not well versed in 7mm Remington mag, but I do know you have to maintain at least a 54% case fill or you'll get flashed over. So I don't know what the reduction is in what powder.
Yeah.
So if your said powder to reduce it to 2800, if it doesn't fill at least 54% of the case, you're going to overpressure because it flashes over rather than burning through.
Right. So essentially causing it to implode.
Yeah. Well, implode. If you have flashover, you're likely going to explode.
Well, they're going to look like the same thing to the shooter. Yeah, the lowest you could get a 139 grain according to Barnes, the lowest you can get it is 2818 with 55 grains of IMR 4831, which is a very good powder, but most of the other ones are going to be closer to 29. So I guess it is possible to do if that's something you want to do, but I wouldn't go lower than that. And the cool thing about that is that Barnes 139 grain LRX, I killed a caribou at 459 yards with it. That's my best shot ever. All right, of course Steven came up here and like blew that away in one shot, but anyway, like that IMR 4831 is a very slow burning powder too, very slow. So if you're looking for like recoil reduction, that'll do it. You are going to take a lot of range out. Like, if that bullet was traveling at 3,400, it was still hitting with 1,1800 foot-pounds at 459. But now if you got it going 2,800, you'll be lucky to have 1,200 foot-pounds or 1,100 or 900 at 459 yards. So something to think about. All right. Any comment, Steven? Math is math, though. I agree.
No, I'm not as well versed in ballistics as you are.
Yeah. It's time for trivia of questions. All right.
Center fire go boom.
I think he's gonna like start giving us some trivias. Same Corey. Top 3 rifle rounds for accuracy. Accuracy is more the firearm than it is the round.
It's more the firearm than it is the round, and it's the shooter.
Right.
Holy crap! I sighted in
quality of ammunition. Quality of
Oh
ammunition.
no, dude,
Yeah.
no! I sighted in a rifle for a buddy of mine, and I'm sitting there, I'm just stacking them, and I'm like, all right, come on over. You know, I need you to shoot this thing. No, he shoots a freaking T-post. It was him.
Yeah. No, I get it, and like, yeah, that one, that one's that. But I will have to say, like, there are some that are not going to be as accurate, like 7.62 by 39 out of a bolt action. Probably not going to be as accurate, especially if you're using, steel cased wolf stuff or, lacquer stuff. That's bad. Like, there's some things that are probably not going to be there. If you get heavy rounds that are not for the twist rate of the rifle and that kind of thing. I will say your modern PRC cartridges and your 6.5 Creedmoor, they are very inherently accurate. Like, you can pick up 2 or 3 different boxes that they can shoot well. Like my Bergara 6.5 Creedmoor has had over 7 different loads shoot half an inch. So that's not something I can say for any other caliber I've ever owned. I've had my 7mm rim mag has got like 3 or 4 that shot half an inch, but there are 7 different loads, factory and hand loads. Excuse me, factory and hand loads, 7 different loads that are over half an inch or under half an inch.
When it comes to factory ammunition and factory rifles, and just personal experience, like 308 Winchester 6.5 Creedmoor 6mm Creedmoor have probably been the easiest for me to shoot accurately in a generalized statement there, but
yeah, and part of that is the recoil. That, like, those cartridges don't have a lot of recoil. I mean, 308 can with the right load and bullet, but like 6.5 Creedmoor doesn't kick. 6mm Creedmoor doesn't kick. Like, so if you're looking for top 3 rounds for accuracy, you go get things that have good ballistic coefficients, high twist rates, good bullets, and don't kick you very much, where you're not going to flinch.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier about my buddy. I had his rifle just stacking them, and then he comes in and just flinches and shoots the T-post holding the target. Like, there's lots that comes into play. You can give somebody the perfect bullet, the perfect round, well, the perfect bullet, the perfect gun, perfect atmosphere, and they suck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. We should have one country from Texas to Alaska, and let the West Coast go socialist and die. Let the East Coast go socialist. When they go complete socialist, they'll go to crap in 20 years, and they'll want to rejoin us. That was bad. So
no, when it comes to Canada, give us a right of way. There's right of ways that exist all over the United States. Give us a right of way, a free passage, so that I can drive through with my suppressor and whatever gun I want to on the way to Alaska.
So I'm not going to tell that story. I'll tell it when we get off the air. Never mind. All right.
Well, I do that with Indiana, or no, Illinois. Illinois is, my suppressors are illegal in Illinois, and I'm driving through like I'm in trouble.
He's just kidding. ATF, FBI, and Illinois State Police. If you're listening, he's just kidding.
Prove it.
Never done it. He's never done it.
Prove it. I'm a YouTuber. I'm like Johnny Cash. I sing songs and tell stories, right?
All right. Thoughts on bolt actions? Stupid. But that being said, if you need to go break in a barrel and you don't have a scope for it yet, but you have a red dot laying around, go break in your barrel. Go shoot clean. At 50 yards, it's still going to stack them on top of each other if it's a decent rifle. So
yeah. At 50 yards, you're going to take a 3 MOA dot, and it'll effectively be 1.5 inches. And many bolt actions are capable of less than an inch. So yeah, you can just bet on that bullet landing somewhere in that red dot at distance.
Unless you have a the Savage bolt action pistol that they came out with, or something like that. That might be the only one you'd put a red dot on.
The old Remington XP 600 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now the other thing is maybe this is what he's talking about up here in Alaska, because Luminous Dave is from Alaska. if you had Picatinny rails that on top of your scope rings, and you put a forward mounted microdot, so that if you get in trouble with a bear, you have quick sighting. It's not a cheek rest anymore. It's a chin hold. Okay, it's a chin weld or wield or whatever you want to call it. It's not cheek wield anymore, but you can throw it up and there's that boom, 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 and you can still have your 4 to 16 power or 5 to 25 power scope on there, but have your little micro red dot ready to go, so that in case you run into big Mr. Brown Grizzly, that is a purpose that you could have them on there for. But you would, I actually don't like getting a scope over 3 power for its minimum thing for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll agree because, I was on one of those hunts, and so I had this NV set up on my lever gun. So having that night vision set up, you've only got X amount of battery, so you don't want it burning all the time, but it takes forever to power it up. So what I had was just an offset little red dot on a 45 degree. So as we're riding through, if the pigs run out, you just pull up and throw it on the 45 degree, and it's minute a pig. So it goes back to what you were saying, grizzly bear. It's minute a grizzly bear. So
yeah, I have a 45 degree micro red dot on an AR. I just put a scope on because the scope's really high power for an AR. So I put that on there just, for closer shots.
There you go. Thoughts on the new 308 Creedmoor? And this is my thought. There's a 308 Creedmoor. I am not going to trade my 308 Winchester for it. That's for sure. But if basically it's like an Ackley improved 308. It's going to change the neck where it's more efficient. Have your straight neck instead of 308 having a like 0.3112. Was it 0.312 at the bottom of the case neck and 0.308 at the inside of the top case neck, so you get that bullet wiggle just like you're doing 300 Win Mag. If they fix all that, it's a good thing, but you're not going to see it outside of competitions. Just not gonna do that. What's up, Fredo B from SoCal? Joining us from the Caliban. This winter is going to be my first time ever hunting. Kind of nervous for it. Been an animal lover on my mouth, but I know the animal will feed my family for months. Well, yeah. Glad you got a tag somewhere. Let me know how it is. So
just remember to breathe.
Yep.
You point your rifle at a paper target, there's no pressure. When you see an animal, just remember to breathe, calm those nerves. Don't
Absolutely.
slap that trigger. Make everything deliberate.
When I was growing up hunting public land in Georgia, I'd see a deer. You wouldn't see that many deer, and I would get to the point, oh my gosh, there's a deer. There's a deer. What do I do? And I missed a couple of deer because of that. My very first deer, I did that, and it was running through the woods as fast as it could. I threw it up and shot and dropped it right there. But after that, I sucked, right? And like one of the biggest things I can tell you is like get out in the woods and start looking at animals now, so you can breathe and all that stuff. When I was dating my ex-wife, her family had land, and we would see 150, 200 deer on that land in a season. Like it was like that many deer sightings, right? I got to the point where it was like, oh, it's another flipping deer, right? Oh, it's a big deal. That's a deer right there. Like I went from, oh my gosh, it's a deer, to that's just another flipping deer. So like get in there and breathe, do exactly all that. Just and take somebody with you who knows what they're doing when it comes to skinning out the animal. Who's that? Local fatty. Yeah. If you don't have anybody, email me, alaskanballistics@gmail.com. I'll go hunting with you. I won't necessarily know that I'm any better, but because I've only done one moose and 4 caribou, so 5 caribou if you count my wife's. So here's what it is. Yep, there is that. Yes, Fredo, I understand. Fighting the fight. Slow them down for us, buddy. Slow them down.
Yeah, slow them down. I've got some friends that just moved locally, and they left the red part of California, and they came here to red Tennessee, and they say that they're glad that they moved back to America.
Yeah. See, that 6 CMG is a mixed bag. Great for self-defense with light, fast 10mm, but you are correct. It will not do bear defense. Maybe CMG does 2 uppers with 1 with 2 twist rates. Maybe so. I'm not sure. That CMG was kind of disappointing. Now I am going to show you something in the video that comes out Saturday with Chook. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna go do some more testing. He told me to put my with the Brental hardness being much harder. He told me to put my hand loads in there. I was talking to Mike at CMG about it. So or emailing him back and forth. So kind of is what it is.
Yeah, Virginia is highly disappointing for.
Yep. All right, gonna put a red dot on my Mosin. There you go. Go for it. If you like it, do it. I'm not gonna tell anybody what to do. Top 3 calibers for 1,000 yards. My easy answer: 22, 250, 243, 300 Win Mag. There you go. They'll all do it. Fairburn, Georgia, checking in. All right. I probably told you last time. My best friend's a cop in Fairburn, Georgia. So just put a red dot on your squirt gun. All around, is 5.56 superior to 300 blackout?
Depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, every cartridge has its niche.
Yeah, so 5.56 general purpose superior. 300 blackout specific purpose superior.
Yeah, agreed. What do you think, Steven?
Well, simplify it all around, whatever that means. For most people, 5.56. For most,
for most people, for general purpose. Specific purpose, when someone's dialed in that they either want to be stupid quiet or they don't care to be just a little bit loud with a bigger pill with a bit more accuracy. Because so many people like 5.56, they're hung up on the the green tips, right? With green tips, you have your penetrator that is not always concentric inside of the bullet. So when you're throwing something that's flying that far downrange with that much centrifugal force, and you have a core that's not perfectly centered, you're going to affect accuracy. Whereas lots of the supersonic capable bullets, the Barnes 110 and some of these others that are made for the 300 blackout, you're going to get a lot more accuracy with somewhat the same speed. And then you can go up to 180, 200 grain and then just deliver the super quiet pill with a good amount of thump 50 to 100 yards out. So, yeah, it's general purpose versus specific purpose.
So, okay, Centerfire Go Boom has another question here. And I'm gonna start, and then I'll let y'all answer. Steven will go next. 55 grain full metal jacket 5.56 deadlier than 147 grain full metal jacket 308 because the 5.56 would yaw and the 308 would needle hole through it. I would say no. First of all, if it hits bone, anything will yaw. All right. If it hits a flat vest or a magazine rack, anything can yaw. And you got to remember that 147 grain 308 is putting 2,500 foot-pounds of energy on the target. All right. If it's going all the way through and they only absorb 50% of 2,500 foot-pounds, guess what? That's still about the same as 5.56. So they would have to, yeah. So I would say no. A bigger hole is a bigger hole, and you don't want any holes that God didn't give you. Steven, what do you think?
Yeah, they say no questions stupid. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, 308 is definitely should do more terminal damage. I would say. I look at foot pounds, so I'm not overly complex about it. But obviously, the 308 at 147 grain is going to probably deliver a lot more foot pounds of energy on a target. I don't know what we didn't really say what distance this was at, but yeah.
Pat?
Yeah, no, when it comes to if I want to make something dead, it's going to be 30 cal and up. So I know 5.56 will do it, in most civilian scenarios where you can actually justify the yardage. So many people are like, yeah, I could take somebody out 200 yards. Well, you wind up in court, you can't justify that he was a threat to your life at 200 yards. But if I'm going to do something, 308 would be, I would prefer 308.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that being said, I have shot deer with both 5.56, 223 hot hand loads, so 5.56 and 308. If you put the bullet in the right place, the same thing's going to happen.
Yeah,
so I like with 5.56, I like to put them right here at the 55 grain VMAX, and they go like that. Now with the 223, sometimes they're twitching still. You got to put another one in them. With 308, and I did it once with a 300 Win Mag on a whitetail, they don't twitch. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, no,
They don't twitch. I'll tell you that much. So, all right.
yeah, I don't. My last bullet that I hit a whitetail with is actually downstairs, or I'd show it to you. But yeah, that one was like, it literally pulled her legs up like it was a freaking airplane running gear.
There you go. Ever hunt with a 7x57? I have not. Any of y'all?
Nope.
How much do you bump the shoulder on your bottleneck rifle reloads? I set the shoulder. I set the die where it hits the shell holder like it's supposed to, and then one more quarter turn. That's it. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the manuals say to do. That's what I do, and it works. I will say it gets, you have to be very, very precise with the 6.5 by 284 with that angle. Like if the angle's off even just a smidgen of a turn, then you could be a problem. So I bought a Redding precision die where you can turn the die and get the shoulder, like dial it in exactly. So I haven't tried it yet though. All right, here you go. Handgun caliber for mountain lion hunting, stuck between 10mm and 45 ACP. Also, which bullet? I'm going back to the range to get some brass hopefully soon. For all wild game, I would use hardcast. So that's a 255 and 45 ACP usually for buffalo boar, and it's a 220 grain or a 200 grain depending on the company in 10mm. I would use hardcast because I want holes coming in and out of him with a flat nose that penetrates, and I do not want something that blows up inside of him and doesn't drop his blood pressure. Because if a bullet blows up inside, it doesn't drop their blood pressure as quickly as two holes going out of them. So hitting shoulders, hitting heads, stuff like that, you're talking about like, this is mountain lion defense while you're hunting them, not you're actually going after and getting close to a mountain lion with that. Yeah, good luck with that. So, Steven, got a question? I got to answer the question.
I don't know if he's talking defense or actually hunting them, because that would probably change things.
Oh yeah.
But out of 10 millimeter and 45 ACP, I'd pick 10 millimeter. Bullets, I'd research more. I don't want to speak on it. I haven't looked into that particular set myself. Like for bear defense, I'd pick 10 millimeter with hardcast.
Right.
But for a cat, I don't know. I'm undecided, I guess.
All right, Pat.
So 10 millimeter versus 45 ACP. If it were a defense situation on a bigger animal, I would choose 10 millimeter. 45 ACP, depending on the gun. Let's say you've got a big, heavy 1911 with a full frame. 45 ACP doesn't have a lot of recoil, and then snatching that thing straight out the holster, coming forward with no recoil anticipation, I'd probably bet on putting 45 ACP more accurately. And through a cat, maybe 10 inches of meat?
No, a mountain lion could be closer to 17, 18.
Oh, really? I'm not.
They can be thick. They can be thick and as wide as a deer, or more.
Well, if it's as thick as wide as a deer, I wouldn't see 45 ACP as being a detriment.
Either one of them will kill it. I'm just thinking defensive. All right, here's our next question from Centerfire Goes Boom. He's doing the trivia tonight. All right, I'll do this one, then I'll let Steven talk, and I'll let Pat talk, and then we're gonna probably get out of here in a couple of minutes here because my wife just got home. And we need to go to the store. 270 Win, 130 grain versus 308, 150 grain, both identical bullet construction. Which one would you use on whitetail? Also, since the 270 is going faster, would it make a more devastating wound channel? I have used both of them with identical bullet construction on whitetail, and I can tell you they both do the same thing. They put the whitetail down if you put it in the right spot. Both of them were Sierra Game King boat tail saw points. I believe when I did it in 270, though, it was a 150 grain, not a 130 grain. But I digress. I would, if I were going after whitetail, I would use the 308 Winchester 130 grain Barnes TTSX. And the reason why I'd like to use that is because in a 22-inch barrel, I can get it going faster than a 270 130 grain. I can get it going 32 every time. You know, sometimes that 270 might get up to 32 in a 22-inch barrel, but no, in a 22-inch barrel, I can get that bullet 130 grain Barnes going 32 every time with tack powder, and I'm not even at the max load yet. It's going 3150 in my 18-inch barrel. So that Barnes 130 grain 308 is the ticket on whitetail. I'm just going to let you know that one right now. I've got a couple of videos on it. Yeah, I would definitely say that's the way to go. Now, for me, as far as stocking up crap hits the fan, I'm doing 150 grain Barnes TTSX because I want to be able to hunt a moose, and I don't that 130 grain is going to shred pretty quickly and not penetrate like in an animal as quickly. So I am doing like a 2850 load for 150 grain, and trying that out. So just kind of is what it is. So, Steven, you got an answer for that question?
Oh, I was trying to quickly look up the foot-pounds of energy comparison from 130 grain out of 270 to 308 out of 150, but I didn't find it fast enough. But
It's close. I'll do the calculate. I'll do the calculations while you're talking. How's that?
All right. Which one would you use on whitetail? I feel like a little bit of this is going to be preference, but I would use the 308 one with the 150. I don't really like going below 140 grains for anything like antelope and bigger, but that's kind of just personal preference as well, probably. 308 bigger bullet diameter. I don't know. I just like I'm partial to 308 over 270 to start with, for hunting anyway. So yeah, I would think that. I mean, would it be more devastating wound channel? I didn't even hear what you were saying because I was looking it up. But
Yeah. Depends.
Bullet construction and bullet diameter is part of what has to do with wound channel as well. So I wouldn't necessarily say that just because it's going faster, it's got a bigger wound channel. But
all right, so I'm going to answer your question, your thing here real quick. I got the numbers. A 150 grain bullet, 22-inch barrel going 2850 in 308 gets 2,701 foot-pounds. A 270 is overboard. It tends to lose. It needs a 24-inch barrel. But assume a 22-inch barrel, a 130 grain going 3050, which is about what most of them go in a 22-inch barrel, gets 2,685 foot-pounds. So you get 15 more in the 308, but not enough to make a difference. I don't think the deer, the elk, the pig, the hog, the grizzly bear is going to know the difference.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
So to avoid the splitting hairs, avoiding all of that and placing this back, what we were talking about earlier, general purpose, 308, 168 grain, go to Walmart, go to Sportsman Guide, go to Natchez, go wherever and grab some off the shelf 168, learn how to shoot it well. That whitetail will not notice the difference of us splitting hairs.
What's the difference in recoil, I wonder? I mean,
having shot both of them a lot, not much. The rifle is going to matter a lot more than the cartridge for those two on recoil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just going to matter a lot more. Like the 22-inch Tikka we have is a T3 light. It kicks more than my 308, which is a heavy AR-10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're if they're both in the same gun, you're not going to notice a heck of a lot of recoil difference. So 243, yep, 6.5 by 257 Roberts AI. Now there's one that's rare. There you go. You were looking for your 8mm 06 AI. Yeah, there you go. So you can't get 8mm 06 brass and fire format?
There's one place I think that has a tiny bit of 8mm 06. None that has the AI. I don't. One place used to, I think, even have the AI, or maybe it was the 06, and then they're out of stock. Most
Yeah.
people, from what I read, they're I guess they're using 270 or something like that, and then they're going up to it.
Interesting.
So I don't know, and I'm not well versed in reloading, that, but
There you go.
yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Reloading Weatherby had to go earlier, but he's got some cool stuff coming up on his channel. So everybody go subscribe to him. We're gonna get out of here. Um, Steven, you want to talk about what's coming up on your channel? You've been busy working hard this last year. Put out a lot of videos, a lot of shorts, and your channel's grown tremendously. So if you haven't gone and subscribed to Steven at Bullets for Bucks, then need to make better life choices.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, still playing catch up from SHOT Show and Western Hunt Expo. We got some shorts coming out from SHOT Show, and I think mainly SHOT Show still now, on some new rifles that came out, just some like little video clips and stuff still, over the next several weeks. And then I'll have a bunch of shorts coming out on a bunch of semi and full auto guns, actually. Some different weird stuff too, Gatling guns, all kinds of interesting things. They'll be coming out, over the next 6 months probably. And then more rifle comparisons, bolt action rifle comparisons. I do have, of course, that interesting Mauser-like rifle I'll be doing some video on, even if I don't shoot it. And then I do have the new Ruger Gen 2 I'm going to be doing videos on. And so, yeah.
So it looks like Big E has a solution here. Big E, email Bullets for Bucks. Tell him exactly what to do, because he doesn't do reloading like I do. Or send me the brass, do it and send me the brass. I'll send it to him, or get a hold of him. You send it directly. So that'd be the way to do it. I would load you the ammo, but I can't ship the loaded ammo from Alaska. So,
lower 48 wants to, and it's I'd pay somebody a decent amount of money for some ammunition.
Yeah. I would love to be involved in it, but send me the brass. I'll neck turn it and do all the right things for it. And you pay. All you got to do is pay for the dies. I won't charge you any money, and then I'll ship you the brass, and somebody else can load it. So, all right. Go ahead, Pat. Talk about what's coming up on your channel.
All right, so yeah, I've got as mentioned earlier, I've got a Tokarev shotgun that's less than $200. I'm going to do some accuracy, well, actually some spreads, patterning testing on that thing, and durability, dependability, all the way around. And then of course I'm going to take and in my typical fashion, I'm going to take a $200 shotgun and stab about $500 worth of furniture on it. I've got a really cool custom knife, and then of course I've got some more gun build videos coming up. So yeah, some other cool stuff to top it off.
All right, guys. Well, coming up on our channel, we have Saturday coming out with Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. We're comparing the 10mm Strybog to the 10mm Banshee, and it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I think they're both good guns in their own respect. And then I've also got I got his Taurus 10mm to shoot all the buffalo boar through I want, he said, and see if I can break a Taurus, since they break easily. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to get it's going to run perfectly. You know how it is. So it is what it is. There you go, Steven. All right, there's you a good one. So anyway, yeah, so that's what I got coming out on the channel. I've got a best 9mm, and I've got a why the 308 is better than the 6.5 Creedmoor video coming out. So y'all stay tuned to that. That's for some ballistics there. So you can use 9.3 by 57 and 8.5 by 57 trim die from Redding, then trim and neck turn as necessary, and you will have your AI. All right, I have no idea what that means. That's way more into reloading than I am. Big E, it sounds like you need to make the brass for Steven, and Steven will help you out there. So
there's still people making custom rifles occasionally in 8mm 06 AI. So there's people that it's just very niche.
Yep. All right, guys, have a great night. Godspeed. Good hunting to everybody. Don't forget our MeWe page and all of our places where we post all the stuff. And click on Steven's links. I click on them on YouTube all the time. All right. Take care, and make sure you subscribe to Pat and Steven and Reloading Weatherby, and make good choices of your life. Godspeed. Good hunting.